We are going to make this character from a book, Spookly the Square Pumpkin. First, let's listen to the story.
Hello, little readers. Today we'll be reading The Legend of Spookly the Square Pumpkin by Joe Troiano.
And the illustrator, the artist who made the pictures, is Susan Banta.
One day, in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookly wasn't like his friends. Where they had curves, he had ends. Spookly was different. He was odd. He was rare. Spookly the pumpkin wasn't round. He was square. While the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookly sat there shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge, he just sat tight. The other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookly wished he was round and could roll everywhere. That is, until one night when they all discovered it's fine to be round when the weather is fair, but there are times it's better to be a square. Halloween was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkins to and fro. It snapped their vines, then off they'd go, bouncing left, slamming right, banging, bashing, what a sight! Spookly sat there filled with fright, but glad to be a square that night. Suddenly the fence gave way. 3 pumpkins rolled out and into the bay. Spookly knew what must be done. It was up to him, he was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried, and finally flipped. He was on his side. Again he tipped, again he flopped, again he flipped, and then he stopped, right in the gap where the fence had snapped. He blocked the way, the hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray!" Spookly the square pumpkin had saved the day. Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would start to crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one with a smack. Then one by one, a ton of pumpkins piled on the stack, with a bang and a bash and a crunch and a crash, and then it all went black. At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkins up one by one and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged against the broken fence. Its shell was bruised, its stem was too, but there was a brave little Spookly sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there the farmer knew, of all the seeds he'd ever sown, Spooklys were the most special that had ever grown. And the next year when it was time to sow, he sowed those seeds in every row. He watered and weeded and watched them grow. And oh, that morning about mid-June, when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, most of them square. Some were cubes and some rectangular. Some were flat and others triangular. There was a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors and hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes! Now every year on Halloween, Spookly's patch is quite a scene. People come from near and far to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare. Then they pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. Now you know the story of how Spookly grew. Maybe someday, if you tell someone too, they'll go tell someone who'll go tell another, and maybe one day we'll all discover you can't judge a book or a pumpkin by its cover. The end.
The supplies you'll need today: white paper, crayons, scissors, and glue. Watercolors are optional today. We're going to make Spookly the square pumpkin. Our paper is a rectangle. A rectangle has 2 long lines and 2 short lines. A square has 4 sides that are all the same. They would be all the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut our rectangle into a square. So I'm going to pick an orange color, and I'm going to think, okay, about how big does this need to be to make it look like a square? So I'm going to do right there. If you measure with your hand about 4 fingers from the edge, if you cut that rectangle off, this paper will be more square. So this part is our square for Spookly. And this part is where we're going to get our stem and our leaf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another line down. And that's going to be our stem. And then I'm going to draw a wiggly oval for the leaf. So a wavy line, wiggly oval for our leaf. And I'm going to do my best job to cut that out. Remember, when we're cutting, 2 fingers go in the big hole, 1 thumb goes in the little hole, and the paper comes to you. I always say thumbs up, so that you're not turning your scissors in a crazy way. So we're just cutting this out. One hand is moving my paper. My other hand is staying straight with thumbs up, opening and shutting the paper. So today, a wiggly oval, we're going to cut on a curve, which is a little bit of a challenge, but you could do it. And then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to glue this all together. I'm going to put the stem at the top of my square Spookly pumpkin. And then I'm just going to glue on my wiggly oval, my pumpkin leaf, right like that. And then I'm going to draw Spookly's face. Spookly's face has 2 big round eyes. Maybe we'll call them ovals, not perfectly round like a circle, stretched out oval. And then inside there's another dot and a dot for the inside of his eyes. And Spookly was so happy he saved the day. He was sad at first because he was different, but his differences helped him save the day. So I'm going to put his nice big happy smile, and I'll put a rainbow for Spookly's nose. Now I'm going to paint my Spookly. I'm going to use watercolor paints to wake up the color and paint Spookly. You can use whatever you have. If you want to use crayons, that would be great. If you want to use a different type of paint, that's fine too. And what I'm going to do when I wake up my color, I'm going to just add some water. I'm going to say wake up orange and rub it gently. And I'm going to go around the eye. And when we paint with our paintbrush, it dances like a ballerina. It stays on its tippy toes. It does not want to scoot on its bottom. You want to be gentle with your paintbrush so you have it for a long time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint everything in the background orange on my Spookly pumpkin. You can use whatever orange art material you would like to make your pumpkin. I'm going to make the body and the face of Spookly all orange until there's no more white space on his square. And then I'm going to wake up the color brown, and I'm going to say, wake up brown. I'm just wetting it and rubbing it gently, and I'm going to paint his stem brown. And then I'm going to use a different technique. I'm going to use a resist. I'm going to draw the veins of the leaf, a straight line, and then diagonal lines. And then I'm going to wake up the green paint. I need to make sure my brush is clean. Wake up green, and I'm going to go around the outside for the green leaf of Spookly. And then after I'm done, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to look to make sure that there's no white space other than his eyes. Everything's nice and neat. And I'm going to sign it like an artist. I'm going to put some green around Spookly's eyes. Once I'm done, sign it like an artist. And then you have a square pumpkin for your patch, just like Spookly. Now it's your turn to work, and once you're done, you're going to hold it up and show me how you made your square pumpkin. I can't wait to see what you made.